I have watched literally hundreds of the big viral handpan videos because I love them, and I'm curious about what it is that people are connecting with so much that makes them such big hits. I found 4 things that appear in every single one of these pieces, and I'm going to teach them to you today in this video so that you can achieve the same in your music. Of course, this video is not about mimicking other handpan players, it's about learning the tools that you need in order to express and connect. So let's dive in. Most of these videos are using very simply extended scales that have a couple of bass notes underneath that they can utilize. Common meditative scales that are used are low pygmies, such as the F and the F sharp low pygmy, Aegeans, such as the C and the D Aegean, and Amara scales, such as the E Amara. There are others that crop up as well, Nordlies and so on and so forth. But these are the ones that I see the most. So today I'm working with my F low pygmy. Don't worry if you've got a D kurd though, because these trusty D kurds are capable of anything. So the first part of the formula is some kind of walking bass line. It's very simple, very sparse. It either goes up or it goes down, right? So here's it going down. And so on and so forth, right? You could also have it in the opposite direction. Which I find very satisfying. And so on and so forth. There are also some variations in between. You can play these bass notes in whatever order that you like, but I see this coming up a lot. The second part of the formula is some kind of sparse, repeating melody. Now, don't be afraid in these melodies to keep it extremely simple. I'm just going to choose this note, which happens to be the same note as this one, just a couple of octaves higher. And I'm just going to play it in some kind of repeating rhythm. Already we have something that's starting to sound like a piece of music. Then we can start to vary it away from that. So these pieces often work in groupings of 2 or 4. So if this is 1, right, one of these bass lines is 1, we can do a group of 2 like I just did, and then after that start to expand it a little bit. Still keeping on this same note, but I'm starting to introduce some other notes. Notice that I'm keeping in the same rhythm. I'm repeating what I just did again. I'm not moving on to a new idea very quickly because this can start to confuse things. It doesn't feel meditative in the way that people want. I'm sticking to the ideas that I like the sound of. Another thing that I notice about these melodies is that they'll go in blocks and then maybe they will develop a little bit. So this is kind of the same idea, but then developing, right? Say we do that 4 to 8 times, a nice chunk of time. Then we'll keep the bass line exactly the same, but move the melody to a completely different part of the instrument so that it feels like you're moving onto a new section while still keeping the thread, the through line of this bass line that's holding it all together, so it doesn't feel like you're suddenly jarred into something new, right? So let's say we're here. Right? A couple of times. The scale, I'm mimicking what I was doing here, but I'm moving around more. And though I'm moving around quite a lot now, I'm starting to build the excitement, I'm still always playing with this push and pull of building the excitement, returning to this home note that feels comfortable and safe and is repeating. It's this repeating that is so important, that ties everything together. So that's melody. Keep it sparse, keep it simple. Even when you do build, always return to some sense of home. The third part of the formula is one of these knuckle bumps, a little knock here on the interstitial space, somewhere in between the notes. I use this part of my knuckle here, so the first one from the fingernail, not this one, this nice delicate one here. You don't have to hit it hard, it can be very, very gentle. And by on the 3, I mean if you're counting 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 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 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, right? And putting in a knock on the 3. So we've got some nice sparse melody, and now we've got some percussion. We're building, we've got another element that's keeping it very simple, gives it a more solid sense of pulse, more grounding in rhythm, without it becoming some crazy groove, right? We're not riding on the ding, we're never doing that. It's always exploring some kind of bass line or chord progression. By the way, if you're interested in using your voice in your music, singing some gentle mantras or simple melodies, I have a course called Playful Voice that you can check out in the description down below. In it, I teach you 3 simple songs that are original for the course, as well as lots of different drills and exercises to help you get your hand and voice independence so that you can sing and play. If you're interested, check it out. And the 4th part of the formula is to always prioritize emotion over technical ability, right? You'll notice in a lot of these songs that some of them can start to get quite complex, quite fast in terms of melody and moving around the instrument, but they're never super technical. You know, they don't have crazy rolls, they don't have all of this kind of stuff that I can't play right now because I'm not warmed up and I don't practice enough and I just can't do it. They're not prioritizing that, and if they do utilize those things, it's in a moment of build-up. They're using it on purpose. For the most part, they're really focused on building emotion, and to do that, we're using dynamics, right? So we might play quietly and spacious. Oops. And then we might build 2 notes at the same time. That just filled up the space so much because I'm building the dynamics. Playing with speed to use emotion as well. And now I'm at my full level with the knocks as well, and then I pull it down. So you'll notice as well in some of this that when I do play those melodies, I'm not like on the dot every time. I'm not. Right? It's not the same dynamic all the way through. I'm always playing with the nuances just a little bit. And as well, I'm playing what we call flams, where one hand comes down slightly before the other. And that just gives it a bit of movement. I don't do it all the time, but you'll notice in some of the melody, the bass line will come down just before the melody strike. And that just gives it a little bit more breath, a little bit more movement within that piece. So we're really utilizing dynamics and nuance in the playing rather than crazy fast technical skills. It's still, this is a very good and important technical ability to be able to play with dynamics, and it's not easy from the get-go. So I'm not saying that it's not, you know, it's not good technical playing. It very much is, but it's not showing off. It's using the bare minimum to express emotion and to leave space as well for the listener's emotion. But how do we achieve that? How do we get to the point where we're actually able to play those things? First of all, you need to have good right and left independence so that you can maintain this pulse of this bass line while doing other things on top, right? So a good exercise for that is the autopilot exercise. I've got videos on that I'll put down below, but basically is we're practicing keeping a simple groove with one hand, like so, and then with the other, we practice moving up and down the scale in many different ways. We might move between different shapes, whatever that looks like, and then we can do the two together. So now we're practicing this independence of the two hands, and so on and so forth. We can also do that in different pulses, so that's playing everything on the one. If we play the scale hand on the and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? We're practicing that independence in different ways, different rhythms, different movements, so that you're just getting used to really moving around the pan confidently and also maintaining two different jobs. In this case, those roles are bass line and melody, or bass line, knock and melody, right? We need to practice being able to maintain all those parts together. Then we also need to be thinking about dynamics, right? That's really important. So very simple exercises, just moving up and down the scale with one hand, so you're still practicing this full range of movement as quietly as possible, as though you're trying not to wake a baby, right? You're tickling the instrument, you can barely hear the sound. And we want to practice being able to do this quickly as well. So we need to start very, very slowly until we get comfortable. But the idea is to build that so you can maintain control even while you're building speed, so that when you eventually do want to move quickly between melodies, without having to really smack down, you'll be able to do that. So we'll practice these scales exercises, and I like to go from 0, which is not touching the pan at all, to maybe 7 out of 10. 10 out of 10 would be far too loud, is damaging the instrument, right? That's pushing it to its very limit. 7 is slightly louder than comfortable, so that you've at least got that level that you can go to when you're playing with those dynamics. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is your comfort, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, we're not going to go there. So you see how we start from that really quiet dynamic building up. That's something that you can practice every day when you pick up the instrument. It only takes 2 minutes just to go over it with both hands so that your body remembers. And there you have it. Those are the 4 key steps to creating the most emotional, meditative handpan music that I have found in those videos. And then a couple of exercises so that you can start to develop those skills that you need in order to achieve playing that music. If you're looking for some inspiration to get you started, do check out all of my tutorials on the channel. There's more than 100, including pre-made patterns for the low pygmy, for the decurred, meditative patterns that you can learn, as well as lots of drills and exercises to help you develop your skills. So do check it out, and happy playing.